What are consciousness, the energy self, and the physical self? Let's find out. Hi everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Kevlan, and in today's video I want to talk about what I call the trinity, that is consciousness, the energy self, and the physical self. I want to share my perspective and insight as to what they are and what these science and spiritual teachings are saying about them. Let's get started. I want to start with what I call universal consciousness because this is all there is. Universal consciousness is at the top of the Trinity triangle because it represents the point of oneness, or the singularity that exists beyond space and time. If you remember the double torus pattern that I presented in my previous video, at the center there is nothing, just pure consciousness. So how could you experience consciousness if there was nothing but consciousness? To get the experience of consciousness, universal consciousness has to decompose into fractals or fragments to create a feedback loop of information between the internal world, which is universal consciousness in this case, and the external world, which are the fragments or fractals of universal consciousness. This is made possible due to the double torus pattern where everything is emerging from and all the information about the experience of consciousness is going back to. In simple terms, it means that everything you can see and perceive in your 3D reality, whether it's stars and planets, plants and animals or human beings, are just fractals or fragments of universal consciousness. Just to give you an analogy, think of the way of how white light can be decomposed into 7 different colors to create a rainbow. If there was nothing but white light, how could you experience white light? You could not. So the decomposition of white light into 7 different colors allows the experience of white light from different perspectives or different colors in this case. So you could experience white light from a blue perspective, or you could experience white light from a green or red perspective. It is the same thing for a universal consciousness. By decomposing into an infinite number of fractals or fragments that we call our 3D reality, universal consciousness can experience itself from different perspectives. The decomposition creates the illusion of separation where blue light could feel different from red or green light, where in fact they are just different perspectives of the same thing, white light in this case. So we could feel different from animals or plants or other human beings, but in fact we are just different perspectives of the same thing, which is universal consciousness in this case. Now, from universal consciousness, I just want to go back to our own consciousness, and I want to give you an example of how I see it. Think of the ocean, and then you can have a closed loop system from the ocean, so meaning that you have the water from the ocean is flowing towards a small container like a glass and filling up the glass, and at the bottom of the glass there is a hole where the water from the glass is going back to the ocean. So like a closed loop system, like a fountain, for example. In this example, the ocean is universal consciousness. The water in the glass is our own consciousness. It is the same water, but in smaller quantity. So it's just a fractal or fragment of the ocean, or universal consciousness in this case. So now imagine next to that container of water, this glass of water, you add some music. So the information about the environment where the water or the glass of water is will be recorded by the water in the glass, and then this information will go back to the ocean, so creating this feedback loop of information I was talking about before. So in essence, we are just fractals or fragments of universal consciousness experiencing itself from a unique point of view. So now if we continue and we talk about the base of the Trinity triangle, and we talk about the energy self. So as the energy is emerging from the point of pure consciousness, the point of oneness, the frequency of the energy starts to decrease and get more denser and denser, creating an energy body. This energy body is a part of you that you cannot see and perceive with your eyes because it vibrates at a frequency that is faster than the speed of light or outside of the visible light spectrum. It is said that this energy body is composed of 7 different layers that are the etheric layer, the emotional layer, the mental layer, the astral layer, the etheric template layer, the celestial layer, and the causal layer. And each layers carries a very specific frequency, with the highest frequency being the causal layer, vibrating at a frequency very close to the point of oneness or pure consciousness, and the densest layer of the energy body being the etheric layer, vibrating at a frequency very close to the visible light spectrum. So it could be seen with our eyes with a little bit of practice. This energy body was referred to as the auric field or the aura in ancient teachings for thousands of years. And science, if we look at the last 3 to 4 decades alone, science has been able to measure and detect the densest part of the energy body away, like up to 12 inch away from the physical body. And again, keep in mind that what science is able to measure, it's only the densest part of the energy body, not the entire energy body. So all those different layers are superimposed onto one another from the physical self, extending more further away from the physical self. And all those different layers are capable of exchanging information and energy via what we call different energy centers. So the 7 energy centers that we have, known as chakras in ancient teachings, which are nothing but whirlpool of energy or vortices of energy, allowing the exchange of information and communication between the physical self and the different layers of the energy self. I will be diving deeper into the different layers of the energy self in future videos, so if this is something you would like to know more about, I invite you to subscribe to my channel using the button down below. But now let's continue our journey. So as the energy continues to, or the frequency continues to decrease, the energy will start to vibrate at a frequency lower than or slower than the speed of light, and will start to be in the visible light spectrum, so creating a 3D hologram of this field of information that vibrates beyond space and time. And the 3D hologram is what we call the physical body or the physical self. The physical body is much more than the container. It is a fractal vibrating, it is a fractal of pure consciousness, vibrating at a much lower frequency. It is a hologram of all the information contained in all the different layers and frequencies between the point of oneness or pure consciousness and the visible light spectrum. As the frequency of the energy starts to get more denser and denser, it accentuates the perception of separation as we go from singularity to duality. To give you an analogy, think of a radio station. When you are at the exact frequency of the radio station you are listening to, the signal is pure and you can hear it very well. As soon as you start changing the frequency away from the radio station you are listening to, the signal starts to become more erratic and to pick up more background noise, which until you are unable to listen to the radio anymore. So it is the same as we go from duality, as we go from oneness to duality. It is the same process. In oneness, we are just pure love, pure consciousness. As we start to vibrate lower than the frequency of pure love or pure consciousness, the signal starts to be more erratic and less pure, creating the illusion that we are not pure love. As we go through this process, we start to receive more background noise and disturbance that will affect the hologram that is our material body in this case. When we fall deep for separation and amnesia, we forget that we are pure love and we just identify ourselves as being only the 3D hologram, creating to live our life in separation, in survival, in war, so on and so forth. Our 3D world vibrates such at a low frequency that it adds a lot of potential background noise and interference that will affect the shape and condition of the hologram or the physical body. If we look at the hologram a little bit more in detail, the brain acts as an antenna to allow the experience of consciousness. So it's really to allow to perceive consciousness in the 3D reality. But similar to our eyes that can pick up light, when the eyes die, the light still exists. So when the brain dies, the consciousness still exists as an independent property of the universe, as this is all there is. If you want to know more about this topic, I invite you to check out my book on Amazon, The Science of Breaking Free. I left the link down below in comment. Also, if you like this topic, please subscribe to my channel using the button down below. Share the video with your friends and family, like the video, and for now, I'll see you next time.